Let's watch his video and then we'll comment.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't
do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
It's a common sentiment. Now, what exactly is a Christmas tree? Is it Christianity? Is it paganism? Or is it generic? Let's see. From ancient times, people would decorate their houses with plants and foliage because that was the easiest decorations. How did it become this time of year? So we have the winter solstice. And if you notice, Christmas falls out right after the winter solstice, as days start becoming longer and it's ushering spring and the summer. Most ancient societies were agricultural, and they would celebrate the winter solstice because with more sun, they would have more crops. Ancient Egyptians worshipped Ra for the same reason. They would bring in foliage and decorate it inside their house after the winter solstice because Ra, who would wear the sun on his head, was now bringing in the good times of spring and summer. Ancient Romans celebrated the leaving of the winter solstice, the regaining of daylight as the day started getting longer, with something called Saturnalia, which was to their god of agriculture, Saturn, which they named the planet after later. Now, what about Christmas trees? How did that become a thing? Germany really is credited for that tradition. By the 16th century, there were no records of anything called a Christmas tree, especially relating to the holiday of Christmas. However, we do know that Christmas was placed now in the winter solstice because, like every religion, Christianity wanted to speak to the masses. If the masses were pagans or had pagan ideals, it's much easier to convert them and bring them in and say, oh, you have your pagan holiday this time, we have our holiday this time also, which answers, of course, the question is why they celebrate Christmas as the birth when everyone knows, based on the Bible itself, that the birth happened in the spring. Martin Luther King is really credited for the Christmas tree. In the 16th century, the Protestant reformer first added lighted candles to a tree. According to a common version of the story, walking home one winter, Luther was awed by the stars twinkling among the evergreens. To recapture the scene, he did it in his house. And why evergreens? Because evergreens that survive the winter are symbols that spring is to come. But who brought Christmas to America? As early as the mid-1700s, the Moravian Germans in Pennsylvania would have Christmas trees because they brought that tradition over from Germany. However, most others, even as late as the 1840s, considered Christmas tree to still be pagan. What changed? Popular culture! It was Queen Victoria and her German prince husband, Albert, that brought in the tradition from Germany to England. And Queen Victoria, who was popular among all the people, who created the white wedding dress, also created the tradition of bringing in the Christmas tree for the holiday of Christmas. So what was a tree that was decorated for after the solstice for any generic purpose you want to talk about or any other holiday, all of a sudden now in the late 1800s became a Christmas tree. So if you want to bring a tree into your house because you're jealous, just know this tradition really is only about 150 years old. Hanukkah and Christmas should not mix. We should appreciate what we have with Hanukkah and don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just know their traditions are a lot more recent than ours. Our dreidel, 2,500 years. Yeah, now that's a tradition.